I just decided to come on here for a few minutes before I'm about to go leave my house. I'm on my way. I'm rushing. I'm on my way. Hold on. Hey y'all. Happy Tuesday. It is January. Hold on. I forgot. January 28th. Okay. Tuesday, January 28th. So happy Tuesday. Real quick, I just wanted to record myself. I'm on my way, rushing on my way to my doctor's appointment. As I said in my Vision Crocs video, which I'm very upset I didn't have a chance to even grab them to put them on. I should have just laid them out last night. But as I said, one of the things I will probably insert it right here on my Vision Crocs was like a little uterus. I'm going today to find out if I have or just, well, I guess get more information if I have endometriosis or not. As I like briefly shared in the Vision Crocs video, that I've struggled with really bad menstrual cramps all my life. I got my period when I was 9 years old, and I'm 35 now, and I have struggled with it for a long time. And I've been told for years that, oh, it's just normal. No further testing was done. I mean, I feel like I just was not being heard. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, like the doctor that I had, that I continued to see, well, I started seeing her at 18, and then I continued to see up until about 3 years ago. She was great. You know, I didn't have any other issues with her, but I had, you know, I didn't really know too much about endometriosis, and I didn't really know that much about PCOS, but I heard people kind of talk about PCOS here and there. So when I heard them kind of talk about that, I kind of knew a little bit about it just from conversation, just from seeing things on like TV, because it was starting to, like, I guess become, people becoming more aware of it. So I kind of knew a little bit about PCOS. I know a few people that have it, but I didn't really hear too many people talk about endometriosis that much. Never really heard too much about it. I mean, I heard like little things about it, but not to like the extent of what the symptoms were for me to like really look into it, because I really just was kind of lost. So I know I had went on Lemonade. I joined Lemonade maybe like 2-3 years ago, and there was one girl, I wish I could remember her name, but she talked a lot about her having endometriosis and her struggling with it. Lauren Norris was another one, YouTuber that I follow. She talked about it, which actually she was the main one that made me kind of look into it a little bit more. So thank you, Lauren, a lot. Thank you so much for kind of making endometriosis or making more people aware of endometriosis is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, shout out to Lauren Norris. And because of her, that's why I went on. It wasn't because of that I went on Lemon 8, but when I went on Lemon 8, I found another girl who was talking about it too. So like, okay, I started like, all right, maybe I should look into this a little bit more and find out what the symptoms are. And I started looking into it, and this was recently. Like I said, I had joined Lemon 8 like 2 years ago, but this was probably like about sometime last year when I started really getting into like, okay, I have this symptom, okay, I have this symptom, okay, this sounds like what I have too. Like, so it was just kind of making more sense to me, like, okay, well maybe like this is what I have. So I had told my PCP I think in September of last year, and I was just kind of telling her like, hey, look, like I'm having all these weird, well, for one, I've had all these symptoms, most of the symptoms I've had all my life, but I'm starting to get, within like the last 3 years, I've been having really bad, like, PMS symptoms, like stuff that not a lot of people that I know of really have. I would have really bad, nausea, which I mean, a lot of people have these symptoms. A lot of people have these symptoms I'm about to list, but then the other symptoms, I don't really know anybody that really had these issues. So the symptoms that I had, the other people that I saw had, you know, was the typical nausea, but it was always really bad for me, at least personally. The heavy bleeding, the severe cramps, to the point where like I'd have to miss work, or when I was in school, I was always constantly in the nurse's office, having to call my mom to come pick me up. It was just awful. It was just awful. And like I said, I would miss a lot of work. Also, like my mind's going blank now. It's so funny because like I already knew all the symptoms were. Really bad headaches. I would almost have like what they call a period flu, like right before your period would start. Sometimes I wouldn't get that every month, but sometimes I would. And this is some of the stuff that I'm listing now, is some of the things that I didn't really hear anybody talk about too much, was the period flu symptoms. Like I never even knew what the hell that even was. I was like, why do I feel so achy? Like I feel like I'm coming down with something, and come to find out that's what they call a period flu. I would get that every once in a while, like every couple months or so. I would get really blurry vision to the point where I'd be at work, and I work with computers a lot. So I would be looking at the computer, and all of a sudden I just couldn't see anything. Like it was just so blurry to the point I had to squint or had to keep rubbing my eyes in order to be able to see what I'm doing. Like I said, I had the headaches, but the headaches sometimes were really bad. The lower back pain was, I always had like a little bit of back pain from being a dental assistant in the past, from leaning a lot. If people, you know, if anybody that follows me right now is a dental assistant or was a dental assistant, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or even like a dentist or a hygienist, like we lean a lot, you know, and it does cause us to have a lot of back issues. So a lot of my back issues, I have like little back issues, but it intensified more so after I, you know, became a dental assistant. But I started noticing even around my period, the back pain would just even be more intensified, and it just would be unbearable. And I'm a type person, I'm not going to say that I have a high pain tolerance. I kind of do, just it depends on what it is. But for that, it was just, I can't do the cramps and the lower back pain was just unreal, y'all. Like it was so bad. And it's gotten even worse now. I actually purchased a TENS machine at this point, and it's actually the only thing that's been helping me right now. Also, back to what I was saying about the symptoms. So the symptoms, a lot of the symptoms that I would have would be, so another thing would be like, on top of the blurry vision, would be the bloating. The bloating, I kid y'all not, the bloating is insane. I literally look like I'm damn near 6 months pregnant. 6 months pregnant. I look like I'm 6 months pregnant. Like, the bloating is so bad. I had a really bad period like a couple months ago. I was so bloated to the point where I had a hard time even breathing. Like, I was like out of breath. I couldn't even stand too long to talk to my mom. I had to go lay down. Like, it was that bad. I'm literally getting like a little emotional now just talking about it, just because I've struggled with this for a long time. And it would be nice to have some answers. Part of it's also because my period's supposed to start today, because I cry, but I'm not a huge crier, but like, it's so frustrating. Like, and I have other things going on in my life right now that's very frustrating right now. But it'd be really nice to have an answer for something, so I'm not struggling all the time, you know. God, I hope I don't freaking cry in front of this doctor when I go see him. I hate crying in front of people. I really do. Sorry, y'all. I'm back. A little emotional, like I said. I just hope I have some answers. I really do. It's very, very frustrating. On top of that, after I talked to my PCP, I'm so sorry, I'm like, this story's all over the place. I talked to my PCP. I told her all my symptoms. On top of that, I had some issues with constipation, right pain, right ovary pain, sharp ovary pains. Yeah, it's just, I talked to my PCP and I told her all my symptoms, and she said that yeah, it sounds like you need another opinion. Like, she was looking at me all crazy, like, you know, why didn't this doctor catch all this stuff? You know, you've been with her all this time and she didn't understand, she didn't catch any of this stuff. So pretty much she just referred me to another doctor. Those people, I called them, they didn't answer the phone. Actually, no, they did answer the phone the first time after I left my appointment, but then after, like, they told me I had to call them back. This was like a whole nother issue. They told me I had to call them back if I didn't hear from them within a week, because they had to wait until they got my referral. A week passed. I actually gave them, I think, a week and a half. I never got a phone call. I called them back. They never answered the phone, left voicemails, never returned my calls. So I said, fuck this. I said, I'm going someplace else. So when I went to go see my doctor again, so it's like I said, I really apologize. This story is all over the place. I am currently, well, I was on Phetamine, so I had to go for 3-month checkups a lot. So when I went to go back to see my doctor again after like 3 months, I told her, I was like, hey, like, these people never call me back. I never heard anything from these people. She said, huh? She's like, well, let me get you to somebody else. Called them, pretty much the same case. So I called my doctor back, said, hey, they need the referral. They said they sent it. Never got a call back. I called them again. I think I gave them like a week. Never called me back. I couldn't get in with anybody. I was like, what in the world is going on? Like, I just don't understand. So I ended up saying, you know, screw this. I'm going to go see if I can find somebody else myself. So I found somebody. I found a specialist. I'm going to go see him today. They were able to get me in so quickly. They were so nice. And I'm just excited to go and find out what's going on. So I will check back in with y'all once I have, after my doctor's visit. On top of that too, I have to drop off a little pee sample because my dog Pickles is having surgery tomorrow. Not really surgery, but he's having his teeth cleaned, so he's gonna be put under. So they have to check his urine and all that jazz. So I gotta drop that off too, and I'm late. So I said, screw it. I'm just not even gonna worry about dropping that off before I go. I'll drop it off on the way back. But yes, I will check back in with you guys after my appointment. All right, so we're back. Y'all, I'm so sorry. We're back. Like, what's today? February 1st. Saturday, February 1st. Y'all, it has been a mess. I have not been able to update y'all yet on how the visit went because things just didn't go the way I planned as far as like trying to record stuff. I'm sorry, I look a mess. Like, I just got up, but I wanted to record because I wanted to record a few days ago, but just haven't been able to because just so much stuff has been going on. So I'm sorry I look rough. I got these little, we're being transparent. For one, I got these glasses on that I bought years ago. I never wore. They're not even prescription glasses. I had some blue light glasses that I was wearing like back in December, and they left these 2 marks on the side of my nose, and they have not gone away at all. They faded a little bit, but it's just still visible, and I know it sounds very vain, but it's just to me, it's embarrassing. I don't like walking around with 2 big brown marks on both sides of my nose. So I have these little fake glasses on right now to cover that up because what was the point of putting on makeup just to record? You know what I'm saying? So I'm just being, excuse me, I'm just being transparent. Also, on top of that, I came outside because it's just easier. I live at home with my parents. So it's just easier to come out here and talk in my car versus talking inside and be like, who are you talking to? So yeah, so let's backtrack. So I was a little emotional the other day, which was warranted. But let's talk about that visit. So I went to the doctor, as I said before. I felt like I had endometriosis, but wasn't 100% sure if I did or if I didn't. So I went to the doctor's office. Let's first start off by saying that I have good news, but I also have some, not necessarily bad news, but it's just a little frustrating, I guess, like still to a degree, a little bit. So I went to the doctor's office. The doctor was nice. It didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. Like, cause from what I was told over the phone, I was supposed to have like an ultrasound done, like the first visit, supposedly, like during the consult or something. I don't know if it's necessarily considered a consult, but I kind of felt like that's where it kind of led to. He asked me a bunch of questions, a lot actually, like my symptoms and stuff like that. And like midway through, I kind of felt like he was nice. Don't get me wrong, but I kind of felt like he kind of looked at me kind of like, almost like, why are you kind of here? Because what you're telling me is not adding up to what you thought you had. Because at one point during the conversation, when he was asking for my history and stuff, he was like, kind of like looking at me, but taking notes. And then he was like, so why are you why? I'm trying to figure out like why you're here. And I'm like, sir, like I have pain. Like I want to know what the pain is from, you know? I was answering the questions, pretty good or whatever. But when he said that, I was kind of felt myself get a little like warm, not mad, but just kind of like embarrassed, almost like, okay, was I not supposed to come here? Like, because I was having these problems, because my PCP just felt like it was fine, like she felt like it was fine, not fine like that I was having these problems, but fine for me to like, okay, like maybe that's not the right word to use, but my PCP was like, thought it was something that I should have looked at. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just kind of like, what do you mean? Why are you trying to figure out why I'm here? Like, obviously I'm in pain. I'm trying to figure out what the root cause is. So I started getting like a tad bit uncomfortable for a second. And I was just like, okay, like, where is this leading to? So when I told him who the doctor was that did my previous procedure, do not ask me to explain, or not explain, but don't ask me to like pronounce it. I think it's called look, I just said don't ask me to pronounce it. I'm trying to pronounce it, but it's called I think it's laryngoscopy. I'm probably not saying it right. I had that done, and I had something else done, which I didn't even know the name of it till he said it. And I was like, oh yeah, I think I do remember her saying she did that too during my surgery, or that was a part of the surgery that I had done. So basically it's just where they stick like a little camera inside you, like they do like little incisions in your stomach, and they stick a camera in and kind of just look around, take pictures of like your ovaries and your uterus and stuff like that. Well, he thought that I was talking about a completely different doctor that didn't work, like that wasn't affiliated with the hospital that he's affiliated with. So when I explained to him it was the same doctor, through the same facility, I guess if you want to call it, because he's not exactly in the hospital, but he's still affiliated with that particular hospital. So he has access to the records. He was like, oh, I can look at the pictures now. So he's looking through all the pictures and everything. And I'm explaining to him like, okay, along with all the pain and stuff I've been having, when she did that surgery, she told me that there was a possibility that I would have issues having children, because when she tried, I don't even know what the name of the procedure is called, where you push dye through the fallopian tubes. I have no idea what that's called. I apologize. But when she tried to do it, she claimed that both of my fallopian tubes were blocked. And the right side was the one that I was always having the constant pain on. I had been previously hospitalized for all that stuff. Like, I figured, like, and that was the one that had the scar tissue from what she told me, you know what I mean? So I just didn't understand from that point. So those were all the issues that I was having with that particular tube. So I'm thinking that, okay, this tube is going to be the one that's going to have, you know, the issues with, you know, as far as like being able to have kids and stuff like that. Like, I figured, okay, I didn't want to have to take it out for one. But I figured that that was going to be like the source of the dye not going through. Had no idea that she tried to do dye on both sides. And until after she told me after the surgery, okay, well, we tried to do it on the other side too, just to check, and it wouldn't go through. She said she did it twice, and I'm just like, so what do you mean? Like, I haven't had no problems with the left side, so why am I having problems with the left and right? It doesn't make any sense. So I'm thinking for like almost 2 years now that I'm going to have problems having kids. I actually went to talk to a fertility doctor just to kind of like, I'm not seeing anybody now, and I'm not in a serious relationship or anything like that now, but I wanted to get ahead of it. So that way, if I were to meet someone and I wanted to have children, I would already like weigh out my options. I know everything ahead of time, because no judgment to anybody else, but I just never understood why people wait until they get with somebody in order to figure out what the next steps are. And then, in my opinion, I feel like that puts a lot more stress on your relationship, a lot more stress on you, you know, because, you know, you're trying to do everything when you meet someone. I'd rather just do everything ahead of time, weigh out my options, know what I'm getting into. So that way, when I meet somebody, I'm like, hey, like, look, this is what I've gone through. This is the issues I'm having. You know, this is a possibility that I might have to have IVF, which is what I was told, which is a lot of money, and insurance does not cover it at all. So, you know, any type of fertility treatment insurances don't cover. So I'm just thinking, you know, I want to get ahead of this just so I know I'm familiar with stuff. I can understand what's going on with my body and stuff like that. So I met with a fertility doctor, just kind of weighed out my options. I asked him if, okay, could we just like retest? And he was like, no, it's kind of like a little tricky to retest. Normally if someone says, like, if you're having issues and we see, you know, what they found, we kind of just go along with that and just kind of weigh out the options. And I'm just kind of saying to myself, like, I mean, I get that. And I looked into it. I know they said that the surgery is a little bit more delicate because you don't want to, you know, go back in and damage the fallopian tubes, because you can, you know, it's a delicate area. I get that. But however, I'm just like, I want another opinion, you know, like I want another opinion, not just pictures from somebody else. And then you look at it and be like, oh, like, yeah, I see the same thing. I didn't want that. I want somebody to retest with the dye again. And they said, you know, that they didn't want to do it, pretty much at the end of the story. They didn't want to do it. So, I went almost 2 years going on, okay, I'm going to have all these problems. Well, he looked at now, before I even get to this part, he is an actual specialist. Like, I know the other fertility doctor was a specialist too, but he's a specialist as far as like endometriosis and stuff like that. He is a specialist, which to a degree does not always mean that people know every fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? Because we've seen time and time again, people be specialists in something and they don't know what the hell they be talking about. And the people that ain't the specialists be the ones that, you know, that crack the code and figure out what's going on, you know? So I'm not trying to make it seem like just because you have a specialty in something, you know everything. But from the encounter that I had with him, even though I was a little confused as to why he asked me while I was there, even though we had like a little hiccup at that point, I still wanted his opinion on what he saw, if he saw anything in the pictures and stuff like that. So he was really looking at the pictures, looking through them, studying them, telling me all this stuff that I can't even pronounce. So when he finished looking at the photos, he looked at me and he said, well, from what I see, he turned the computer around to me and showed me pictures of my ovaries, showed pictures of my uterus and my fallopian tubes. He said, if you can see those white spots right there, and y'all, like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep getting off subject for a second, but the fallopian tubes or whatever, it is so wild how small our ovaries are. Like, I never realized how tiny they were. When he showed it to me, it was like, I mean, it was like a speck. So he showed me the picture. We're looking at the fallopian tube, and we're looking at the ovaries in the fallopian tube. He says, well, from this angle, it looks like your ovaries look like they're sitting kind of low, which it could be from the angle she took the picture, or it could be just that your ovaries are sitting low, which, I mean, he said that can have its own problems. He said it's not necessarily like a horrible thing, but like, you know, you can have some type of issues with that, but it just depends if that's just how she took the picture or that's just how it is. But the good news is that he said from the pictures that he saw no scar tissue damage. He said, and even if I had some, it's not anything that's really, really damaging to the point. I'm sorry, y'all. There was a lady walking behind me with this big ass dog. I was like, where the hell did that come from? I just kind of surprised me for a second. He said that from what he could see, the fallopian tubes look fine. I was like, what? They look fine. So I was just confused. I asked him, I was like, so what do you recommend? So he's like, I don't recommend doing surgery again. And I'm like, but why? Like, if you don't see anything from these pictures, but you're not 100% sure, I want to know. You know what I'm saying? I want to know. And on top of that too, he said that normally what they do is they lift the ovaries up in order to see underneath, because apparently, and like I said, if I'm wrong about some of the stuff I'm explaining, I apologize, but that's why I say I'm mad that I wasn't able to record right after the conversation, because I might be not explaining things 100% accurate to you guys. So like, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I apologize, full disclaimer. But he said something about when he does surgeries like that, he usually lifts the ovaries up in order to see if there's any evidence underneath the ovaries of endometriosis. He said because apparently that's where they look at. So he said that there was no notes like pertaining to any type of find of endometriosis, or maybe there was like a little trace of it, but not warranted to like, you know, to put it in the notes. So, I asked him, I said, what is your reasoning for not doing the surgery, just so we can be accurate? Because I mean, I want to know just in case, because I was told that if I get pregnant, I run the risk of having an ectopic pregnancy. My mom had that a long, long time ago before I was even here. Hers ruptured. She got her part, she had her right, I believe it was her right fallopian tube removed, and she had all three of her kids on a partial ovary. Supposedly, that's what she said. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to go through that. I want somebody to be accurate and be able to tell me, like, am I going to have problems? Am I not? So I told him, I was like, he said, well, hold on, I'm going to go backtrack. He said the reason why he wouldn't recommend it was because he said that, you know, you always run the risk of, you know, cutting into someone. And I was like, okay, I get that. But at the same time, I would still rather know something instead of going based off of a picture. You know what I'm saying? So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, what would you recommend? I mean, I have time to figure out what I want to do. I pushed for having the surgery, like I want the surgery, but at the same time, I talked to like one of my brothers about it, and he's just, my brother's so funny. Like I have two older brothers, and one of them is very cut and dry. He's like, you know, okay, well, if he sees in the pictures that it's not an issue, why do you feel like you need to have the surgery? Why don't you just wait and see? I'm like, Do you have ovaries? Do you not understand like how painful ectopic pregnancy is? Like, what if I run the risk of getting that? He said, well, then, I mean, I don't know. But he was like, I just feel like that's not something that you should do, you know, right now. But I just feel like he don't understand. When I talked to my mom about it, she understood 100%. And she's supportive of me doing the surgery. Everybody else, like, I haven't really talked to too many people about it yet. Just because I had other stuff going on this week. But yeah, let me know what you guys suggest. I mean, I'm kind of stuck. I'm leaning more towards getting it, but I know it's a delicate surgery, you know, but can y'all understand like why I would want to know? Like, I want to know 100%, you know? So he said that if I were to do the surgery, he couldn't schedule me out for like I would have to wait like at least 8 weeks because they have some like issues with their coordinator or whatever. They don't have one. So I have plenty of time to figure this out. But, you know, overall, it's good news. It's just not accurate good news. It's a good guess of news, you know? So it's frustrating. Oh, and then on top of that too, he said from like, the questionnaire that I had to fill out beforehand was so confusing because I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. But it was like a thick little packet I had to fill out. How is it thick and little? Lord Jesus, help me. Anyways, the packet was like semi-thick. And some of the questions were like frequent urination. Like, this is just an example. Frequent urination. Do you get up constantly to go pee like in the middle of the night? So I'm thinking, okay, do you mean on my period or do you mean just in general? So I'm thinking just in general. But like all the stuff that I've like went through, I'm like trying to figure out if he's meaning on my period or just in general. On my period, just in general. Well, I mean, I pretty much filled it out the best way I could, how I interpret it. And then when he was going through the questions, like, he would ask me again. And then, I don't know, he was just like, oh, well, from what I'm seeing, you don't really have, ooh, that's a bad angle. Oof. From where I'm, like, he's basically saying, like, from what he read, and we went over, like, after we went over the questions, and from what he read to me, it seemed like I didn't have endometriosis. I just have fucked up periods, basically. That's basically the diagnosis. So that's normal, apparently. Like, it's normal for people to have bad periods. I'm just one of the lucky few. So, I mean, I guess it's good news that I don't have that, supposedly, but at the same time, it's like, it still sucks, you know? And he said that if he does, you know, since I want to do the surgery, that's another thing he did say. Since I want to do the surgery, he said he would look, seeing that she didn't do it, that from what he saw, that she didn't lift the ovaries up, he's going to do that to see if there's any sign of endometriosis down there, just to be on the safe side, because that's what he does anyways. So that's what we're looking at right now. Leave your comments at the bottom for me, like, what your guys' recommendation is to do. Share your experiences. Just comment below. I want to know, have you guys ever gone through something like this before? I'm sure like all of us have gone through something like this. I want to know it all, you guys. Just share. I want to know. Let me know what you guys think I should do. Let me know if you guys been through the same exact experience. Till next time, you guys, take care. I'm literally about to like end this video, and I'm like thinking about was it Jerry's last or final thought? This is so funny. I had to stop recording for a second because I was like trying to close this video out with something like a nice, I don't know, like I was trying to close it out with something. And I started thinking about Jerry Springer when he would do like Jerry's final thoughts, because like soon as I was talking, and all of a sudden I just busted out laughing because I'm like, girl, like you are not a talk show host. I'm just gonna pop in real quick and say that I'm very, very, very awkward on camera. I'm so sorry. So yeah, I don't have anything else to say. other than subscribe. And I'll try to upload consistently because I've been slacking. Bye, guys.